had my issues throughout life. So we have this quote that I repeat every single day. Episode. My last question is, if you could put a billboard anywhere in New York City, what would it say? What's up, Lug Life family? Zach from the Junk Luggers here, episode 13 at Wildflower NYC. We're on 44th Ave and 10th Street in Long Island City. I've got a regular customer. Is that the best way to?
Yeah, I would say so.
Who's also an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I'm a fashion designer here in Long Island City, and I have a studio right across the street from Wildflower.
And do you have an Instagram handle so people can follow you?
I do. It is Siedow Thompson Design, which is KSIEDOW Thompson Design on Instagram, and I do custom looks for celebrities that are plus size or just all sorts of different shapes and sizes of people. Plus, I do some stuff for drag queens, like the RuPaul's Drag Race drag queens.
Amazing.
So just a lot of stuff.
And how long have you been in Long Island City?
I've been here for about a year at my studio. I moved it out of my apartment.
Congrats.
Yeah. When you have a toddler, you realize really quickly that you can't really work from home when you're doing what I do.
I totally get it. And so why do you come to Wildflower?
Well, for one, there's not a lot of options around this neighborhood, but I come over here partially because I came in and realized that these ladies are, first of all, make amazing, delicious treats. Second of all, they're like incredible, just friends and women, and I just really like seeing them every day and eating their food.
That's awesome. I love not only it's a women-owned business, but
yes,
also just supporting local businesses in Long Island City. You know, there's every single option in Long Island City of the commercial coffee shops, but some place like Wildflower, you know, you could tell that not only do they know who you are and care about you, but how much you becoming a regular here makes a difference.
Well, and like, there was a day that I came in and I was like, oh, my daughter's birthday is this weekend and I'm going to try and bake a cake and I don't have time. And Gina literally was like, oh, I just baked some cookies or some cupcakes. Do you want me to decorate some for you? And I was like, yes. And they were like the best cupcakes I have ever had in my life.
Shout out to Gina.
So much better than what I would have made.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Episode 13 of the Lug Life Podcast. I'm Zach. This is Gina, the owner of Wildflower NYC. We're on 44th Ave and 10th Street right now. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. We've been open in this little cafe maybe just about three and a half months.
And how's it going?
It's good. It's busy. Essentially, Wildflower is a wedding cake business. We do large catering. We're expanding all the time. We're doing baking. We're doing virtual baking. So it's great. It's great to have a new home in Long Island City.
So have you been in Long Island City beforehand?
Yeah. So prior to pandemia, we were just around the block. So had a kitchen that was much larger, 2,500 square feet, but running Wildflower, and actually I was partnered to a wholesale cookie company that I was running out of there too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in the baking world?
So I've owned Wildflower for 8 years. I've worked in hospitality for probably for 17 years. But it's actually not where I got my start at all.
Oh.
So my original degree was in illustration. I went to the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan, and I was, painting and drawing and being, this is where it kind of started. And then from there, what happens in life? I don't know. It wasn't the path. I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make, right? Because like me and everybody else, I took out way more student loans than bit off more than I could chew. And then started working in hospitality, started working at different restaurants and recognizing things that I loved in chefs, in art and food that I was seeing that I just found incredibly intriguing. I mean, I always loved to bake. I always loved to make things with my hands. I come from a long line of bakers, so it's not like totally out of the clear blue. But one thing kind of developed to another. So it went from needing money to pay my loans, so working as a waitress, a bartender, working, in kitchens, in different restaurants, to kind of just taking this leap and being like, well, maybe I can do this on my own.
So when you took the leap, what did that feel like? Were you nervous, excited? Did you feel like it was going to turn into a full-time gig for you?
To be honest, at the onset, I did not have the same kind of drive and the same kind of focus that I have now. In the back of my mind, there was always something that was like, yeah, all right, well, let's see what you can do. And I say that to myself pretty often now, but it's with a stronger drive and a more developed tactic in business and in entrepreneurship that feels like a whole different ballgame. But no, I didn't take myself like 100% seriously. It felt like, let's see what you're gonna do.
That's awesome. And I feel like, a lot of times we talk to entrepreneurs, they talk about how their passion doesn't necessarily have to equate to how they're making money. And what I find is really interesting about your story is your passion was in baking. You were doing other activities to make your money, and then all of a sudden at one point it kind of blended together, and now here we are today. You're making, last week when I stopped by, you said you made over 100 cakes in one weekend.
It's June. So like I said, we are very much a wedding cake business. We take on about 6 weddings a weekend. It's so funny because I was saying to Zach, I was like, Zach, I'm so happy we're doing this podcast today because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm a whole different animal.
It's okay. I mean,
you wouldn't want to be here.
I mean, that's the truth,
right?
right?
You want to be here. Lay keeps limited conversation. They're just like, just get out of her way.
Get out. She's a monster right now.
Just get out of her way. She's going to bark orders, and you're going to get them done, and then you're just going to stay out of her way because she's a little steamboat. I don't mind being a steamboat. I think it's a good thing. But, I do love it. Thank you.
So, obviously, the way that I found you is I'm a coffee addict.
Yeah.
It sounds like most people know you from your baking. And now, one of my employees is like, oh, you're going to see Gina? Can you bring me back one of your baking, the bacon, what do they call it?
Bacon breakfast twist.
Bacon breakfast twist.
The chocolate croissants. We're making some different danishes, cinnamon rolls. Everything is in-house, actually, aside from the bagels. The bagels, we found a company that will boil the bagel, and then we can finish the baking process in here. But essentially, really what I take pride in is, in this little weird pocket of Long Island City that will be developing even further.
Too fast,
You can come and get the most beautiful, soft, buttery, crispy on the outside croissant or bacon breakfast twist that we will send back for all of my loves at Remix Market.
Yeah, so right down the road is Remix Market, our store, and that's actually, I think, how I found you is Tammy, our general manager of Remix, either said, did you guys get broken in during that?
Somebody tried to break in.
Someone tried to break in. So there was this thing that was going on in Long Island City for a while where people were trying to break in and rob all of the local businesses.
They were successful. Unfortunately, in 3, they got 3 little shops. Or I guess not all of them were little.
Yeah.
But they were successful in breaking into 3 places not far from here. I don't know how I got this lucky because I literally, so when I came in the morning and I get in pretty early, I walked up to the door and I was like, that's a lot of brick pieces. It's like, doors.
That's
okay.
That's more garbage than usual in Long Island City.
And this block there sometimes is some trash. And so I don't know how, Zach, I don't know how I got that lucky. The brick broke, the door didn't break. Thank God. We don't carry cash anyway here, so you can see, but you know.
So don't come looking.
So it's not here, so don't come.
Yeah, so I remember that the break-ins were happening nonstop in this neighborhood. One of the best parts about Long Island City is like it still feels like a neighborhood. Yeah. Right? Like it doesn't feel like Manhattan or Brooklyn. Like people look after each other. And I remember Tammy putting in our Slack channel for Remix, like, make sure you stop by Gina. I know she's really upset what happened. And that's when I started to drop off my daughter at her daycare down the street and come in here.
And I would make you your large iced coffee with almond milk.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I started to look in and realize, you know, most people are finding you because they're coffee addicts like me, but that's your niche is really in baking, right?
It is, but it's in all things quality. So even, you know, we use Stone Street coffee, which is exceptional and a really nice, rich, robust, real coffee. Like we joke around and we call our iced coffee, it's our cold brew, it's jet fuel. If you want some jet fuel,
That's
how
amazing.
much you have to wake up. But it's all things quality. And actually I had, the way Tammy met me was I was coming into Remix because you can find everything at Remix. And I got the most beautiful couch for my apartment and all kinds of furniture, like high-end, gorgeous stuff. So that's how they met me. I went looking for treasures.
I love it.
And I would talk to all the girls and I'd be like, you know, and this was before I actually, you know, the stress and what it takes to actually open up doors, finish construction, tie all the loose ends. I kept walking into Remix and being like, it's gonna open soon, I promise, soon. And then I would, talk to the girls about treats and they were just so excited. But,
so you're 3.5 months in this location.
Yeah, 3.5 months for cafe, 9.5 months with production, and that's just running like essentially catering, large cake orders.
And what have you learned in 3, what probably felt like very quick months?
I have learned to tough it out.
Yep.
Whatever happens, things are going to go wrong. You must find the most efficient route to resolution and shut up and stop feeling bad for yourself. That's it. You can't feel bad for yourself. Things are gonna go wrong. Figure it out. Keep figuring it out. Even when you cry, even when your friends are mad at you, figure it out. Just figure it out and then say sorry to everybody.
I'm the biggest crybaby there is.
That makes me feel better.
Oh yeah, it's probably me being the baby of my family and being a mama's boy, but yes, absolutely. And it's so funny because no matter which entrepreneur we talk to, no, I'm not even like giving people layups in this discussion. It's like everyone constantly says things are going to go wrong. It's going to be outside of your control. As a business owner, your job is to control whatever is in your control.
Right.
Control your emotions and try to figure out a way to learn from whatever mistake it was. So,
right. And shake, shuffle, and shift.
Ooh, I love that.
You have to shake, shuffle, and shift. I mean, what did we learn even in I know it's like so maybe over talked, maybe not, but you know, what did we learn in the last 3 years? I have a business that only operates when 100 people eat something.
Yeah.
So.
And people have to be getting together to have events for you to be able to.
That would be correct, Zach. So what do? So you have to figure things out. Mm-hmm. And in that journey, I got to be honest, I got very, very, very close to throwing in the towel, to calling my, fairly small staff and saying, I'm sorry, we don't have it anymore. It's done. And I got very close. And this is in 2020. And I had also had full reconstructive knee surgery. So while I'm out and I can't make cakes, I can't be standing. I was standing on an injury for a long time, but just being a very stubborn Italian girl, I was just toughing things out. And so I got the surgery, and money is depleting, right? Everybody's getting their deposits back. Nobody's getting married, and everybody needs their money back. And I was ready to throw in the towel, and I got a call from an event planner that I had worked with moons ago, who very randomly said, hey, Gina, can you do set design? Can you recreate a wedding cake tasting? And I verbatim, Zach, said to her, I was like, girl, I'll literally shine your shoes. I'll come to your house.
I love that.
And I'll clean your apartment.
Yeah.
But of course said yes. And I called a friend of mine who works in film in LA, and I said, John, what do I charge for this kind of thing? They want me to do 15 fake cakes, 4-tier, 5-tier. They want me to do 6 full real cakes.
Wow.
5-tier, 6-tier. And then mini cakes. And then they want things like, I'm recreating an entire bakery. And he said to me, you just hit the jackpot. Whatever you would normally charge, you just multiply times 4 because it's a Hulu budget, Netflix budget.
Shout out to Hulu.
So this is a show. The show is called Evil. It's on Hulu. I believe the episode that we're on is season 2, episode 2. I hope. Maybe Roger can edit that out when it's wrong. Hopefully it's not.
It's not going to be wrong. We'll show footage. Roger will go and show the footage from the episode so you can see her amazing work.
And so my point in telling this whole story is that I really was to the brink of this is over. It's a wrap. It's been 6.5 years. And I had just had knee surgery. The doctor told me that I'm not working for 4 months. I had knee surgery month and a half before, and so I had the choice to save my company, and I did it on one fucking leg.
Wow, I love it.
And I literally did. Shout out to Ron Spinelli. It's my father. He set me up in his basement in Queens, and with a stool where I could keep one leg elevated, and I was making styrofoam artwork cakes. So I guess I came back to kind of my background in art a bit.
Yeah.
And this is 100% how I save my company.
Amazing.
Thanks,
now,
Hulu. Thanks.
Shout out to Hulu. So, you mentioned, obviously, you almost threw in the towel. You mentioned that you got this grace from God, right? Do you remember what was going through your mind in terms of how you changed your mindset? Obviously you had surgery, there was a lot going on, but what was going through your brain?
I was pissed.
Pissed, but but determined, right?
Determined. And I actually did the fuel in the anger that I was faced with in failing.
That's exactly
was literally bitch, you're getting up the stairs and you're doing it because you're not giving up on, and you're not going back. You're not going back to anything that was before this, and having
no plan B, no plan Bs.
No plan B. I mean, once once it's yours and you run the ship, you love this thing. I mean, right? This is
for sure.
You love it. You need it to succeed because you know that now if I can push myself like that, I can keep pushing myself. I can do this challenge. I can make this bigger. I can hire more people. I can give more people this experience that, listen, I do plenty of imperfect things as a person.
Of course.
But I love the employment and the creation that happens in these 4 walls. And growing up, I always played sports, right? And I was very often captain of my soccer team. And I love being in that position. I love looking at people and being like, she's really good at that. She's really good at that. And putting everybody into play. And then everybody feels rewarded. It's like a win-win all around.
Yeah.
And, I might run this ship, but it wouldn't sail without the other people behind me.
Leaders lead from behind, right?
Yeah.
And the only way that people are truly successful, no one wants to work for a shitty boss. No one wants to work for a company where they think that the mission behind it is bullshit.
Right.
So people, your coworkers, trust you to lead the ship, right? But they also trust your vision behind it, right? And know that as long as Gina is with us, leading from behind, because it sounds like not only are you being the entrepreneur here, but you're also getting your hands dirty on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And, you know, I think that goes a long way. And people work a lot harder for people that they trust.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned that you've gotten into a lot of other things since this moment, right? Now you're doing corporate events, you're doing workshops. Now you're going to start doing virtual corporate workshops.
Yeah, this will be brand new. But baking, classes to different capacities or something like new that's developing, which is super fun.
So how did that happen?
That started with, we started doing booze and bakes at the Last Kitchen. And it's so much fucking fun. Am I allowed to curse?
You can say whatever you want.
After I've said fuck 38 times, I'm asking.
My mother actually told me my mother told me, like, Zach, enough with the swearing. No one wants to hear you talk like a truck driver.
You're right.
So now I'm allowed 2 fucks every single podcast. Ooh. And if I go over that, I get a phone call from my mother being like,
oh, yeah, sorry, Mom.
It's
sorry,
okay.
Dad.
Okay.
Sorry, Grandma. I can't list all those people. There's a lot of people in that family.
I mean, Italians and Jews, they're the same.
We're the same.
They're the same kind of thing.
We're the same. I grew up in Matzo Pizza.
Okay.
Do you know Long Island a little bit?
My wife is from Dix Hills, Long Island.
Okay.
So I know Long Island a lot.
We had this conversation.
I know Long Island a lot of it.
So I grew up where Jerry Seinfeld grew up. It's called Massapequa.
Oh, I know Massapequa,
but people call it Matzo Pizza.
I get it now. That's amazing. That's amazing. We got to get Jerry here for coffee and comedians.
Can Jerry come also? Like, I really want Action Bronson to come.
We will definitely get both of those people. We got to. Part of my vision is if you put it out there,
it might
happen. So Action Bronson from Fuck That's Delicious. We want you here with Gina, baking in the back.
Mayhem
Loren.
I don't know what's going on.
Big Body Best.
These people, I just want to feed you the most delicious piece of champagne cake that you've ever had. And then if it's bad, you could tell me it's bad, but it's not. Oh, edit all that.
No, we're not editing it. We're not editing any of that. And
I got nervous.
Roger's going to turn it into a reel and tag all of these amazing people because I'm also obsessed with that show. So determination obviously took you a lot. Pivoting. It sounds like you've pivoted a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you have your niche, but you're also not afraid to try new events. And
you have to. I think it's really important to constantly reinvent. I mean,
I'm coming back.
First of all, why have one stream of revenue when you could have 10 for very obvious economical reasons? And second of all, like I said, when you push yourself and you get yourself used to being uncomfortable, it's not a bad thing. In fact, maybe you would agree with me. Is that 100%. A necessary thing? Maybe it's a necessary thing.
Yeah, I mean, my whole journey has been a bunch of uncomfortable moments of my life. And I feel like, people will disagree with me, but my failures are usually my biggest successes. And, Roger following me around with the camera, it has not been pretty, right? There's a lot that goes wrong. There's a lot of times where things happen outside of my control. And I pride myself on being okay with change and never being too complacent, and I would agree with you 100% that that makes you who you are. That makes you not only become a stronger willed human being,
right,
but also gives you great ideas,
Right.
People like to do things that they are good at.
Yeah.
And that's great. You should definitely, do those passions, but don't be afraid of being beginners at things.
And don't be afraid of things. Just know that things are going to go wrong. Things that you maybe didn't foresee, it's going to happen. There's no way for it not to happen. But just like Zach said earlier, to learn from what's transpired in the past, never make those mistakes again, and go in there. Because I think one of my biggest setbacks, and I felt it almost emotionally, was that I didn't prepare myself mentally enough for things to go wrong. So when they did, I became a wombat. and then that doesn't work. That is never going to work. You cannot illustrate a point unless you're fully composed. You cannot seek out the sharpest resolution unless you know, like, all right, that's just, okay, we could do this and this. Well, what if we did it this way? Now, maybe you've even developed a smarter route that wouldn't have been developed had you not had a problem that you didn't see.
It's amazing. Really powerful stuff. Should we go walk in the back and check out what you guys are working on?
Yeah.
Sweet, let's do it.
So this is our kitchen. What was great about building this kitchen out was just that. We could custom build, I could determine where I wanted all of my machines to go, where my hookups were gonna go. And so this was, great. It enabled me to create a streamlined process.
And this is your right-hand woman over here.
This is the woman who makes me happy every day of my life. This is Miss Lei Takahashi.
And then after death.
I'm making a gigantic batch of pistachio melt-away cookies, and it's a good workout.
Yeah.
How many recipes do we have in there, Lei?
14.
14 recipes. Yeah. So pistachio meltaways are one of our staples. It's a shortbread cookie. We've altered it a little bit in the past 2 years. It's not super sweet. It is super buttery, a tiny bit salty, and then we toss it in a fine powdered sugar. And everybody buys them. I mean, I can't say they buy them way too fast because, like, what a bad business person, but they sell out extremely fast. So 14 recipes is going to get us through, first of all, that's like 180 cookies, and now those will be gone within a couple days. Yeah.
They sound legit.
Yeah.
And so how many things are being made in this kitchen in a week?
Oh my God.
And by things I mean,
how many things are being made in this kitchen a week, different items.
Right.
Staples for the cafe, probably, 30, 32. And then Wildflower, what we do with the wedding cake business and what has really helped me grow this business is everything is a totally customized order.
Wow.
So what I do is I sit down with my clients, prospective clients, and it's like Build-A-Bear for a cake. Without getting too much into the specifics, I allow people to essentially sample the cake, the buttercream, make different combinations. There's no limit to how many combinations they want. And what's cool is they're kind of concocting their own pastry. There's 3 layers in a tier. I'm gonna get a little technical.
Go as technical as you want, yeah.
In a tier of a cake, there are 3 layers of cake. In between, that's the opportunity for buttercream, for curd, preserves, fresh fruit, nuts, things like this. And then the exterior has the opportunity for buttercream as well, or fondant, but nobody really does fondant anymore. Some people. Few and far between.
And how would you say most people find you? Is it through word of mouth, or is it through they tasted it and they're like, holy shit, this is amazing?
We are, we're on Wedding Wire, we're on The Knot. We've won awards on both those platforms before. So our reviews are really pretty stellar. So I get a lot of inquiries through there. I also, at this point, 8 years into the company, I have it's very adorable. I have 8 or 9 families where if anything happens in their family, I make a cake. So somebody has a baby.
I'll be one of those families. I'll be one of those families.
And my point in saying that is that a lot of our orders will also come from I made your sister's wedding cake, you had it there, and then you were like, I need to have that cake. So it is a lot of people who've had our cakes at other events that then seek us out, and then it's Instagram.
So you basically just have the best cakes, and then through that, everyone's like, holy shit, this is amazing cake. Where'd you get it for your wedding?
Yeah, I think, listen, there's a lot to say about standing by the quality of your product and your customer care, because everybody wants all of those things.
Yeah.
I want it to be custom my delicious cake, but custom to what is going to work for you and be the best at your party, and all things considered.
That's great.
So it's it is really fulfilling. It's a process that, listen, at the end of the day, a lot of shitty things happen in the world. I'm very happy to make cake. I'm very happy to do a simple task that brings people joy. It makes their day, even if it's for those 2 minutes, so everything could be totally not good, and they're like, but maybe it's those 2 minutes where they're like, wow, but what is that? Bourbon and dark chocolate champagne? Is there milk chocolate? Is there, and so,
So can we walk around and you just explain what we're looking at?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, this is what you would call a large 40-quart mixer in the middle of production. This is a staple. A lot of the cakes that we make, being that we're making cakes that are 3 feet tall, we can make a bunch of recipes condensed. Our convection oven, our prep tables, we do, so we're hosting classes where we can kind of realign everything in the class, and we bring all the prep tables in like more of a streamlined process and get people arranged a little more neatly there. Not too much else to show other than, our packaging, the way we store all of the important items to go forward in a, catered dessert business. So
when someone says like they want a specific type of cake, what does that process look like in terms of you going out and finding? Is there like a specific place that you go to get this commercial ingredients? Do you have like a go, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I understand the question. I mean, we have a menu that we will always like take on, like I'll always get people. I have somebody right now who's like, can you do caramelized banana and something else, like passion fruit and something like that. If we can, we certainly will try out new flavors. We've brought new flavors on the menu through such requests.
I see.
I do have a very funny story, and this happened like this last year. I may have mentioned, so wedding season starts for us at the end of April, and it goes strong until the first week of September. And this was in the middle of wedding season, and I had, bride and groom doing the customized tasting that I kind of explained earlier. And so they're sitting in front of me, and I could tell the groom had like a pretty funny personality to begin with. He was just kind of silly, which I always enjoy. And the bride had turned to me, and she was kind of annoyed. Her disposition, she was like a little annoyed, and he was being silly. And she said to me, she looked at me and she's like, honestly, I have to be real with you. He has done nothing to plan this wedding.
Sounds like my wedding, unfortunately.
I'm doing it on my own. So he's in charge of the cake. And I looked at him, I was like, all right, bud, you're in charge. And he's like, yeah, I am. How many? He was like, let's talk cake toppers. I was like, okay. I was like, what do you want to talk about? And he's like, how many? I was like, yeah, it's usually one. What do you want to do? And he's like, well, I don't know if you just heard, but she said I'm in charge. And I really like the Philadelphia Phillies. Blue whales are my favorite animal. I also really love my dog, so I want him on there. I was like, go on. What else? And he's like, also a bust of Zeus. I was like, oh yeah, totally. This should be on your wedding cake. So this guy and I went back and forth for, a couple months in planning the wedding, sending me links, and I was like, I gotta cut you off at 13. You can't. This looks like a 7-year-old's treasure cake.
It does not sound like a wedding cake.
And also, at this point in time, I feel like, A, you're taking advantage, and I have to tell on you at some point. Like I have to tell.
Oh, yeah.
I have to tell your
boss.
wife.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I kind of laid off. I didn't tell her just yet. And then 10 days before the wedding, he called me and he was like, Gina, one more thing. I was like, God, what? And he's like, forgot the most important thing. we got to make it electric blue. I was like, no. This is the thing. When you have, and this is just a silly...
Pro tip.
Pro tip. You want buttercream black or hot blue, it's going to stain your mouth and your teeth because it's food coloring. It's a very obvious and simple process. So at that point, I had to call his wife and I was like, hey, so I was going to keep a lot of this to myself, but you're getting an electric blue cake. It's going to stain your mouth and your teeth and all of your guests' mouth and teeth.
Oh my God.
So just want to get the okay with you. And actually, what was very funny, she was like, that's hysterical.
She said, I'm down?
She said she's down. A blue cake with the bust of Zeus and a blue whale and all these other treasures were delivered. And
is this picture on your Instagram so we can put it up?
I didn't put it up, Zach, because I'm not sure if I want to really advocate this kind of order.
That's true. I
will do it. I will do the order though. Maybe I will. I'll post that picture. It came out beautiful for what I was given. And like I said, listen, I do plenty of things not well. I make a damn good and beautiful cake. That's for sure.
So if you're going to use Gina, please don't drive her nuts with an electric blue 13 cake topper.
You get points if you make me laugh. Not like money points, just emotional points.
That's amazing. If you could have a billboard anywhere in New York City and it could say anything you want, obviously junk luggers would pay for it for you. What would it say and why? And where would it be?
Oh my God, Zach. If I could have a billboard anywhere in New York City and it could say whatever I wanted, where would it be? It would be down by World Trade.
Ooh.
And crap.
Take your time. We're not in a rush.
What is it going to say? It has to link back to me. It has to be about persistence. It has to be deep.
Ooh, I love that.
It has to...
Would it have a picture of your cake?
Sweet dreams. Yeah, it would definitely... Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams?
Sweet dreams?
Dream sweet?
Ooh, I like that.
Dream sweet. So the name of the company, my actual legal name is Dreaming Up Sweets.
Dreaming Up Sweets, LLC.
Dreaming Up Sweets, LLC, DBA, Wildflower, NYC. That's heavy. What would yours be? What would you do?
No one ever asked me that.
Well, I can't.
All right, let me think about this. Shit. Mine would probably say it's not important whether there's weather, but rather what the weather will be. No one's ever asked me that. I probably could think of it better on. But
why? That's mind-blowing. I just said 3 words. I have to come up with...
Or maybe it'd be like dream big. Yeah, I'd probably get... I'd probably make it...
The first one was better, I think. Dream big. My father always said this thing to me about persistence. That persistence is the most important quality to have.
I would agree. I would agree with them.
To, no matter what, you keep showing up. You keep showing up. You keep showing up. And that is... So persistence would have to...
Maybe it could be a picture of like where you started and now your commercial kitchen with like this insane, with like your 180 pistachio cookies.
Yeah. Me laying on not like in a provocative way,
in a provocative way.
No. Laying on all my pistachio cookies.
I love that.
It's a heavy question. And I've never had this thought. Like I've never forced myself to have the whole...
So you think about it?
Yeah. I guess and I was thinking about this when we were talking, I would want to turn what advice would you really give? What would be if you could have one really strong part of advice to somebody starting out their own business, what would you offer them?
Consistency.
Ooh.
You know, people see Remix, they see Junk Luggers, they think, you know, I either got lucky or this just happens overnight. Now we have 100 employees, and you know, it takes an army to get to this level. My brother and I, we were a joke. We were Jewish garbage men, you know, like people like used to laugh at us. We had a 1987 Ford F-150 we called Old Rusty, and I was doing everything. I was doing the lugging, the truck driving, the everything. And you know, looking back 15 years later, the way that I got where I am today is just being consistent. You know, don't try to be a superstar every single day. Try to pace yourself. As you know, this does not happen quickly. It takes a lot of work. And the second that I started doing what you were talking about earlier of just leading from behind, really just building out my team, you know, since the beginning I've had 1 or 2 people, and you know, I always gave them more than I gave myself, and I think because of that, people really trust me, not only in their livelihood and their future and putting food on the table for their family, but also, you know, their vision.
See, I think that makes a difference, and I think that that's such a moving and such an important way to run the ship. And I think that maybe it's something that's really not as prevalent as we might think.
No,
these
absolutely
days.
not.
Actually caring about the individual, actually, and you know, and you've mentioned this on your other podcasts as well, in that these other people, their livelihood comes from you, and there's a respect. And I was always taught how important respect is for anybody. You want anybody to do a job, you want anybody to actually listen to you. Having a level of actual respect, like that guy's gonna go home, he's gonna feed his family.
Yep.
And if I line him up to do this and this and this, he can do that. And this changes
Absolutely.
his life, and then how many other people's lives. But actually having the care, and I know I sound so mushy and
No,
famous,
it's so
but
true.
it's a really beautiful concept.
Yeah, and you know, my father always taught me to give the same level of respect for the janitor as you do for the CEO, and I think,
right.
you know, I don't take my responsibility lightly.
Yeah.
If we have 100 employees, most have kids, most have families.
Right.
Now you're talking about 300 plus mouths to feed, and you know, it's a huge responsibility, and I take that very seriously, and I think I try to, you know, the same way you and I have started to build rapport together just from grabbing coffee. You know, I do the same thing with all my employees,
Yeah.
and I never think of myself as a boss. I think of myself as a coworker.
Yeah.
You'll never catch me saying employee.
Same.
You know, I'll call Roger my coworker because without him, we wouldn't be able to do these podcasts, you know?
That's right.
So, yeah, I think consistency and also just making sure that you really put in the time, you know, invest in your people.
Yeah.
Whether you got 2 people or 100 people, you know, when it gets dark, because every person has dark times,
Of course.
that's going to really make you the company you are today. So,
Wow, that's huge.
yeah. So
That's awesome.
I think we should go try out some food.
Yeah, let's feed you.
Let's eat some food, Roger.
This is the funnest part.
We're gonna go
Roger,
sit-
are you hungry?
Oh, we're gonna eat.
Does anybody have any dietary? Okay, I have to.
We're gonna go nuts,
my
and
job.
this concludes episode 13. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Thank
Please
you for having me and
come
for watching.
Yep, come check out Wildflower NYC, and any sort of baking events that you've got going on in your life, please come over and use Gina and her team, because you know that they're going to make not only awesome food, but you're going to support a local business in Long Island City. So shout out to the Lug Life family. Episode 13, that concludes. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and thank you guys so much for watching. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was so fun.
It's so great.
Really? We enhance the flavor with a good amount of espresso. So that's a really nice thing too. And then on top is a little bit of salted bourbon buttercream, because why wouldn't you have that? If you could have that, you should have that. And
Are we gonna get to hear her sing quickly?
she's gonna punch me when this is over.
If you don't want to, you don't have to.
This is Miss Christine DeFries. She is exquisitely talented in performing. She is a vocalist.
Love it. Do you got an
She
Instagram
is
handle?
an astound teacher. She is the newest Broadway star.
Or hoping to be. My Insta is @CDeFierce. Take from that what you will. Oh, am I supposed to sing?
You don't have to.
If you were gonna sing a song, what would it be?
Cook to top of the heap. My seafood's the best in the town. Oh, I can cook too. I don't know what else to say. My fish is the best. I don't know the words to this song. I'm a man's ideal of the perfect meal, right down to the demi-tasse. I'm a pot of joy for the perfect boy, baby. I'm cooking with gas. Okay, and we'll just leave it there, because like I could go on all day.
I was completely on the spot. Completely on the spot.
Actually, to give this context, she told me earlier, because I didn't tell Christine that this was happening today. She came in, she's like, girl, I'm not being on camera, right? And I was like, nah, I don't think so.
No, definitely not. We won't bother you. We're doing this on entrepreneurship. Shout out. Follow her on Instagram. She's going to be us.
We're gonna be in the back, hiding in the back of the kitchen all day. Live.
That's amazing.
Drinks on me.